Horizon Chance, Domesticating, and this is How Nature's Underdog Took Over the World by channel geographic. Fox? That's the face of Fox. So Fox took over the world. Didn't know that. I don't see Fox around where I live. I don't think I've seen Fox many times in any other video that somebody encountered. How the fuck dogs took over the world by being cute and shit, right? Getting in everybody's home, like, look at how cute I am. And they are, right? And they're also smart. I like how they come close to human in thinking. Like, there are way too many videos I've seen. I don't have pets, right? Because I'm too cleanly guy. I don't know. It's borderlining OCD sometimes. That's how clean I am. The thought that dogs are just going to run out to the streets and then jump into my bed, yeah, that's not going to happen. So I'm not going to have pets because of that. But yeah, dogs look smart. Sometimes, they can figure out what you mean. They don't know what you're talking about, but they can see the pattern. And even the words they hear, they don't understand the words, but they can, see the pattern and understand what you're trying to say. So every time you say something, they'll just understand, like, what the fuck? So dogs deserve it, but dogs took over the world. Fox, I don't know. But yeah, this is Casual Geographic. I love this channel. I love how at the start of the early videos, he just spewed out facts left and right. Nowadays, there's more of a theme, which is better, right? I like that his channel reached 3 million subscribers, and it's just gonna go up. It's getting faster. Like, I'm pretty sure when I started reacting to this channel, it was like 1.3 or some million, and after that, now it's reached 3. By next year, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 5 million or something. So yeah, let's watch it.
What does the fox say?
That's what Fox said.
What does the fox say? What does the fox say?
Hi, Cleo.
That's a fox?
Hi.
But domestic fox?
Alright, pop quiz. What is the most widespread carnivore on Earth? Out of all of those animals in the world, which one managed to spread further and thrive in more places than any other? This isn't rhetorical, by the way. Comment your answer. I'm actually curious. All votes in? Okay, good. It's the red fox. I don't know when it happened, but somewhere in the history of Earth, there was a subplot where the fox took over the world, and they have not let up since. Today, there's about 23 flavors of fox seasoning this big ball of dirt and water, with well over 40 subspecies on their roster. And they are everywhere. From griefing gardens in the suburbs, to pickpocketing polar bears in the north, to murking koalas in Australia. Trust and believe we gonna get to that. You can find some Vulpes variant virtually anywhere in the world that isn't the ocean or Antarctica. And the biggest flex of the foxes is the red fox. Despite being in the weight class of a small dog, no other mammalian carnivore owns more real estate. And even though they're invited to the carnivore cookout, technically they're omnivores, which means they eat, and I do not say this lightly, everything. Rabbits, rodents, birds, frogs, worms, fish, crabs, clams, insects, lizards, eggs, fruits, plants, garbage, cat food, dog food, carry-on, and I don't mean the bag, and actual feces. Literally their whole meal plan is, if it doesn't kill them first, they'll eat it. Foxes are also able to exploit the Earth's magnetic fields in order to catch bodies. You've probably seen this thing foxes do where they'll swan dive.
Basically, that means they, fox are like survivors, right? Makes sense. They're not big to be like a dominant species, but they're not that little either. So they're just at the right space where they can be like, okay, I'm not going to get cocky, but I'm not going to get, too pushover. So they just find a way to survive on literally anything. So basically they're survivors, right? I guess our ancestors in, I guess, I just said dragon times, not dragon times, dinosaur times, our ancestors basically were something like that. They survive on literally anything, right? So it kind of makes sense. So I can just imagine millions of years from now, fox might evolve into something, I don't know. Imagine if fox evolved something like human, how would they look?
Into a pile of snow. So cute. It's called mousing, and foxes are able to use magnetic fields as this kind of internal GPS, and they cross-reference that with a broken sense of hearing to figure out exactly where their target is and exactly where to land a critical hit. Foxes pretty much have a real-life wall hack, and they're one of the few animals to hunt like this. They're also smart enough to memorize the migration patterns of certain species of birds, meaning they know the exact time to pull up for free and easy protein.
By the way, people do that, the way fox jump. I've seen people doing that in, I guess, pile of leaves and pile of snow. People just jump like that. I don't understand that. Like, I get it, you're trying to be like funny, but you do realize that you don't know what's under there, right? That could be a bench, fucking, I don't know, with a fire hydrant or something there, and people just dive like that, like it's Assassin's Creed. You could get paralyzed. Like, humans are fairly weak in that way. Like, just small, fall here and there, just hitting you at the right place, you're fucked forever. Like, you could get paralyzed like that. What is wrong with you? I've seen certain clips like that. Like, why the fuck are you doing that?
Foxes also managed to figure out the same with some turtles, since timing it right after they lay their eggs and peace out means low effort omelets. Call that over easy. And arguably, no place has foxed around and found out more than Australia. Because way back in the 1800s, Europeans airdropped red foxes to the land down under for the sport of fox hunting. Evidently, the foxes weren't about to go down like that. To the point where a couple years ago, it's estimated that over 7 million foxes exist in Australia as a perpetual middle finger to the settlers that thought they'd be light work. Some unhinged foxes even learned to climb trees in order to snatch baby koalas and sugar gliders, proving that any animal that gets introduced to Australia will inevitably become a problem. And now, foxes and feral cats are like the Kobe and Shaq of putting native Australian animals on a shirt. That ability to adapt means foxes are one of the very few predators that do better in cities. Not as well, not almost as well, no, better. Today, the high
That's the problem with humans, right? They don't realize like how survival is, how crazy it is, right? They're just like, oh, I'll just introduce this species to this area. Like, what's worse gonna happen? It's fox eat fox area. Are you kidding me? Everything's up for grabs at that point. Who knows what kind of damage is gonna happen, right? I still remember that emu was like how emu annoyed the Australians. Like, god damn, they actually called army for that, and even army sucked. Can't even take out emus.
highest density of foxes living in Britain are shacking it up in the city. In some neighborhoods, you'll find twice as many fox families than you would in the countryside, and 200 times as many than in some desolate moors. And even though they get straight up bullied by bigger canines, foxes don't rely on a pack structure the same way wolves do. And they have enough pretty privilege to dodge the smoke everyone seems to have for coyotes. It also helps that they're nocturnal and move like introverts. Mama fox will go out of her way to clean the den area so well that the average person could walk right past it and not even realize there's a whole family underground. And just like with birds, foxes will study and memorize the schedule of humans in the area and only come out when it's least active. They'll even take advantage of garbage schedules so they know exactly when to come root through your trash. And they'll even take note of what times you often feed your pets so that they can steal their share. And you may never even notice. Depending on where you live, you can probably count on one hand how many foxes you've seen in your neighborhood, even if you've lived around them your entire life. And lucky for them, they happen to be just cute enough to not have to worry about getting their existence nuked like some of their predators. Speaking of which, let's talk about the many enemies of the fox. You got wolves, coyotes, cougars, lynxes, birds of prey, bears, wolverines, cars, and many, many more. Because the one bad thing about being a fox is everything on the census either wants to eat you or wants to kill you because you eat the same things. In fact, the first and sometimes last enemy they'll make is their family. Fox cubs will fight their siblings off rip in order to establish a hierarchy. And it's not the cute Disney play fighting I used to think it was. 20% of fox kids born will never leave the den. It's just straight violence out the womb. I can't even say it's on site since baby foxes live the Helen Keller experience for the first 2 weeks of their life. Lucky for them, foxes often mate for life and bring up the kids together. I mentioned this in the Father's Day episode last video, but fox fathers will hide food around the den in these little pantries in order to teach his kids how to find food for themselves. I want you to keep that pantry thing in mind. We're gonna come back to that. Fox cubs have a couple months of a grace period before they have to go out and figure out life on their own. Lucky for them, they're part of the most unfairly versatile group of animals you'll ever see. Like, did you know foxes can climb trees? No, I don't mean like fully scale that, John. The gray fox has been seen ascending over 70 feet up into a tree, and they're one of the few foxes that flex retractable claws.
Foxes are small, but not that small. But I don't know, they look like giant squirrels or something. So when you see a fox climbing the tree, you're like, yeah, kind of makes sense. I don't know. That is not one of the facts that surprised me.
Which allows gray foxes to avoid conflict with predators like coyotes. Go ahead and ask cheetahs how important that is. Tree climbing only proves that foxes are just cat software marrying dog hardware. A cat dog, if you will. And it shows that there isn't a lot of real estate on Earth that a fox can't claim. And no fox proves this more than my personal favorite, the Arctic fox. Because this igloo puppy has zero business surviving out here. Not only
I want to say, like, what about mountains or snowy areas? Like, snowy areas is basically what I was thinking. He's just like talking about Arctic.
Is it cold enough to get one shot by wind? The Arctic fox also has ops like wolves and polar bears to worry about. And since pretty much anything goes in Satan's ice rink, both of them will
and if Skyrim is anything to go by, snow wolves are more dangerous, apparently.
Not hesitate to eat a fun-sized fox. And it really be your own kind, since another unlikely menace to an ice fox's life is the red fox. Because as small as they are, the red fox is still 2 to 3 times bigger than their snowy cousins. And yes, red foxes will 100% murk and eat their weaker relatives if it means surviving. So you'd think it'd be curtains for any pint-sized predator that even tries out here. Well, about that. Don't think for a second Arctic foxes don't have their tricks too. They'll strategically follow polar bears for miles just to clean off whatever they don't finish. We're talking about a house cat-sized fox slipping food from the literal biggest land predator on the planet, while also
By the way, I was sad about this in many videos, and people are just like, "Oh, there's this animal, leave them to it." Like, I understand that, but one thing I've noticed, like that video about a monkey that he talked about, right? Well, what chimpanzee, right? Chimpanzees can be really fucked up, but there was he talked about how there was a household chimpanzee that was raised like that. He literally froze when he saw those other chimpanzee attacking that human. Like, that's how terrified he was, implying that a chimpanzee grew up in a house was just like humans. So imagine, like, I don't know, cannibal tribes, right? Like Sentinel Islands everywhere. They're completely different than what we are, because they have to survive, and it's all like animal style living at that point, right? Animals are same way, right? These animals like fox would kill their own sibling if that means surviving. But if you basically somehow can make them more, I don't know, just like dogs, if you just domesticate them, they'll be just like human. They'll be terrified at the thought of attacking their own or attacking anything. Like, animals are really kind of like similar to humans in that way. Like, it's really hard for you to process that. Like, lots of people like, oh, they're animals. Like, they're not like humans. I mean, okay, in a way. But just like how cannibal tribes and we are different, the same thing happens with the wild animals and domesticated one.
also managing to stay far enough to avoid getting their consciousness confiscated permanently. These babyface survivors will even resort to scavenging the polar bear's food, except after it's already been digested and taken the south exit. Yeah, they're a different kind of potty mouth. But the Arctic fox has a secret to never having to miss a meal. These Q-tip terriers have a pantry system where they'll bury any extra food in a network of underground dens, which can stretch across 20 miles. And it's these food supplies that keeps the Arctic fox's pulse going in the dead of winter. There was even one time where researchers uncovered a fox cellar containing 38 birds, 4 rabbits, and about a dozen eggs. Oh, it's hoarding on 1,000, but it's what keeps them Euro-stepping death and ghosting the Grim Reaper. This cotton-colored canine has one more trick too. Coming in all white helps the glacier jockey cosplay as a snowdrift in order to avoid predators. But once the sun finally makes an appearance like an absentee father on tax day, the longer daylight triggers hormonal changes that causes them to change coats. They go from whiter than a party in the Hamptons to a thinner coat that matches the tundra the Arctic turns into.
Really?
And it's all these abilities that allows the chameleon of foxes to live in one of the most unlivable places on Earth. And so does the smallest fox in the world.
Alright, it really surprises me that nature's ability to adapt, basically like this, like sun comes up so their color changes, because everything's gonna melt, ice is gonna melt, right? Landscape's gonna change, so they have to change too. Because white fox, they're like, again, but that just means like, imagine there are like 100 different type of fox species. 99 of them didn't change and they just died out. There's one anomaly that changed and it survived. So that's how evolution works, I guess. When you think like that, there must be, somebody program or like this is simulation. Somebody must program that. Like, it feels very intelligent. But the point is, everybody else just died out. They are the one left. So of course they're gonna, like, whoever adapted is left. So there must have been somebody like who didn't change, or somebody who changed too much, or something that like changed it to different color. All of them died out. Only one who changed like to the landscape type of like black or something, they survived. So that's what we have left.
On the other side of the spectrum, the Fennec fox survives in a very different kind of desert. It's the smallest canine in the world and could probably get bodied by a chihuahua. Those massive ears are good for 3 things: increasing their overall surface area to help keep them cool, the same way elephant ears do, helping them pinpoint the insects, lizards, and rodents on its grocery list even while they're underground,
all the time,
and for looking absolutely adorable doing it. Like I said, foxes are broken. Especially since Fennecs can live off the moisture they get from food and by licking the dew from their dens. Not only that, but their kidneys are actually designed to function off very little actual water, making this travel-sized fox one of the few animals able to survive in the desert without drinking actual water. And as a human, you tap out from life after about 3 days of a water fast. In fact, where the Fennec fox may never have to drink at all, the average adult should drink about 48 ounces a day. That's just over 2 of these, which can often feel like a chore, but Air Up's flavor pods makes it.
I mean, look, if you're eating meat, you need much more water, because meat has something like creatinine in it, right? I mean, anybody who works out knows what's a creatine, right? But the natural way of getting it from the meat, and if you're eating a meat a lot, right? If you're one of those people who just eat, like, you have to eat meat, otherwise day is not over, then you're gonna need much more water. If you don't, your organs are gonna be deprived of water. That's a really fucked up thing. I didn't know about this, right? I just started to create it and I just felt shitty, like all the time, like, what is happening? Why? And I was in the, they told me I have to load up or something. So I was taking like 5 grams 3 times a day, so like 15 grams of creatine at the start. And that's really fucked up, like if you don't drink water. And I felt so fucked up recently, I realized like I have to drink a lot of water or organ starts to get damaged. Like what the fuck? That panicked me. But thankfully nothing happened.
Way easier. These pods actually manage to trick your brain by using scent flavors traveling to your brain to replicate the taste of whatever pod you chose. Whole time you're just drinking plain water. Just fill the bottle up, pull the pod to activate the flavor, hold the bottle upright, and yeah, that's pretty much it. My personal favorite's mango passion fruit, but you have a variety of options like watermelon, peach, cucumber, orange, apple, and a bunch more. And again, there's no calories, no sugar. It's just you gaslighting your brain, since about 80% of taste is actually dependent on smell. Now, I've never had a problem drinking enough water, but after deciding to try to cut down on sodas and juices, I can honestly say Arab has come in clutch more than a few times. And you know this isn't just an ad. I literally tell y'all to drink water in every single video. And now I can help with that. So make sure you check out Arab and their many flavor pods using the link in the description. Use the code.
Okay, seriously, if you you should really support this channel. Geographic is great, but besides that, like what's with all these hydration companies coming up, especially with celebrities, right? All these celebrities on constantly like, who's that? Like I forgot about that guy's name, like that internet guy, YouTube guy basically, who's really famous, but now is also in WWE. What's his name? Paul or something? I don't know. But he also has this kind of like a company, hydration company, right? And there are other celebrities who are also like hydration, really? Like for all the things you would need, hydration is the one you're selling. Like you can be hydrated very easily. I get it. Like you need other more than besides just water. Like you need amino acids and things like that. But literally, like eat any food, anything. Fuck me. Let's eat a watermelon. That will have everything you need, right? A glass of water and a small size of watermelon. That's it. You don't need these drinks. And most of the drinks have a lot of caffeine in it. The people just chugging one after another. Like, do you understand how much caffeine you're drinking? They could, potentially go at a level that could cause issues. People feel dizzy and like, why is that happening? Because you're drinking, like, first of all, people drink sodas that have a lot of caffeine in it. Now this fucking hydration drinks that have caffeine in it. Like, caffeine's not that good, man. I drink a lot of caffeine because of workout and shit, and I've become somewhat addicted to it, but it's not good.
Code CASUALGEO15 for 15% off. And like always, make sure y'all staying hydrated out there. Hydration isn't a problem for a pocket-sized sand pup. Oh, and by the way, since their kidneys are always on desert mode, Fennec's fox pee is super concentrated and smells like pee-pee le pew. And since foxes will pee on any surface, 2 hours with a Fennec under your roof and your house will smell like a skunk orgy. So yeah, don't be confusing them for good pets. You shouldn't confuse them for a pale fox either. That's offensive to them. They look similar, but the pale fox is slightly bigger, has a smaller range, and is overall the less clouded dupe of the Fennec. And if you take a quick trip a couple hundred miles down south, you'll find the bat-eared fox. Unlike the rest of the fox family, their meal plan contains almost entirely insects, with most of their protein coming from termites. Those satellite dish ears allows it to eavesdrop on termite affairs before it packs them. They've even gone ahead and invested in extra teeth to help with their termite terminating tendencies. Bat ears also acts on fox-like by living in packs, usually made of a mating pair and their children, kind of the same way wolf packs work. It's like a fox that slept through the lecture on How to Fox 101, which actually makes a lot of sense since technically bat-eared foxes aren't true foxes. There are 12 species that earn the title of true fox, and 4 of them we've already mentioned: the red fox, the Arctic, the Fennec, and the pale fox. Another true fox is the Tibetan fox. No, I'm serious, that's exactly what they look like.
What the hell? What the hell? Their face has something like, I don't know, like tiger or lion, something like that, right? Like mix of that.
Realizing reincarnation ain't always sweet. Or like nature got drunk and tried redrawing foxes strictly from memory and then uploaded it as a dare. It's the only animal able to side-eye you while looking you dead in the face. A picture's worth 1,000 words, and every image of a Tibetan fox tells a story of apathy, indifference, and a splash of contempt. Now you might be wondering why this fox looks like an AI-generated Renaissance painting. Some say it's to help them cope with a windy environment. Some say it's because their skulls are specialized for carnivory. I say God or nature, whoever did this to them, has a twisted sense of humor. Evidently, the Tibetan fox does not. Also, you know the whole coyote-badger team-up that we all love so much and can't get enough of? Apparently, the Tibetan fox has the same type of arrangement with Himalayan brown bears, where the bears will dig out pika burrows, that's a pika, and force them to run on land, where they get chased down by the fox. The fox isn't the digger the bear is, but the fox has better foot speed, so like any true dynamic duo, they cover each other's weaknesses, even if one of them looks allergic to oxygen. I'm gonna run through a couple more foxes real quick. We have Blandford's fox, found in the Middle East and Central Asia. They're easily the goats of foxes, able to scale
Really?
anything short of 90 degrees and able to do the equivalent of a 10
Okay, by the way, the goat thing, I didn't know that they can just climb literally anything like that. Seriously, and I saw same shit happening in the game Skyrim. I'm like, look at that. I mean, like, I just laughed it off. Like, look at game. Even games have limitations. Look at that bullshit thing that they're showing here. And then I realized, what the fuck? This is real. Like, how is that possible? I'm sure it's a game limitation doing it. I'm pretty sure they didn't add that realistic, like goats literally climbing anything. That's probably if the horse was right, running around, they would have climbed that too. But there is no wild horses like that in Skyrim, so it's just goats. I'm pretty sure that's like game limitation too. But it's surprising how it just lands perfectly with the reality. That's why the game is so good. Like even though they have limitation, the limitation feels realistic. Like goddamn.
10-foot box jump by leaping onto ledges. There's the kit fox of the Southwest, also known as the San Joaquin fox, and they're basically the American edition of the Fennec fox. We can't forget about the Corsac fox of the Mongolian steppe and Central Asian deserts. Then you got the Cape fox of South America, and the slightly bigger Indian-based Bengal fox. I was not kidding, unless your neighbors
There's
with
a
a cast of
Bengal
happy
fox?
feet.
I
There's
didn't
likely
know
more
that.
foxes in your area than hot singles just dying to meet you. Foxes come in so many forms that they even have their equivalent of a shiny Pokemon. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the cross fox. It's actually a red fox with partial melanism. You know, the same thing that turns leopards and jaguars into black panthers. They're more common in Canada, where up to a third of the red fox
Why is that like they turn black and it just like did Hollywood did this with everything stealth black means somehow like assassin type of element, right? I think Hollywood did this too, right? Because every time we see something like blacked out completely, like oh shit, that must be dangerous. So when you see Black Panther, like oh holy shit, like that can kill anything. That's our mentality. Same thing with this. Look at that. If you see this too, you just automatically think that this thing can be much dangerous than this one.
population has this bimelanated alternate skin. And even rarer than them are silver foxes, which is just a red fox with complete melanism, gang. Cause yeah, red foxes aren't always red. Like I said, foxes exist in many forms, but there's one final form not even they saw coming. Pets. That's right, there's a population of domestic foxes in the world as we speak. Basically, the lore goes, this guy, Dmitry Belyaev, asked a question. How did we go from this apex predator to a lapdog? So he and graduate Ludmila Trut tried to see if they could replicate.
Really? I mean, wolves became dog, right? I mean, wolf pack is like one of the most apex things out there, so it's not surprising.
The wolf domestication process, except with foxes. They created a fox farm with 100 vixens and 30 males, and which foxes got to mate depended on which ones were the most tolerant of humans. The most human-friendly foxes fornicated, and this process repeated itself with the next generation. Essentially, they were selecting for traits that would make them the most fit for human companionship. And as the experiment wore on, the foxes went from not fearful of people to tolerant of people to actively seeking out people. Later generations would develop an affinity towards humans, sniffing and licking people, and even replacing the aggressive yips and shrieks with more passive whimpers and pants. But what we weren't expecting was, as their personalities and attitudes towards people changed, so did their bodies. The more people-friendly foxes sported droopy ears and curled up tails, which is pretty different from the upright ears and downwards pointed tails of their wild cousins. And after decades of successfully playing God with foxes, we now live in a world where you can adopt and own a pet silver fox. Now here's a part of the video where I tell you why you ain't ready for that. They poop and pee everywhere, and there isn't a surface in their house they can't get to.
You little shit.
They scream, especially at night. You'll be finding out what the fox says while you're trying to count sheep.
If you wanna domesticate a fox, then you're the little shit. If you're gonna be pissed off about what fox do, fox things, you should have known that. It's your damn fault. If you're gonna expect dog equivalent of things from fox, that's your fault, right? Fox gonna do fox things.
Not to mention you're probably going to sacrifice furniture for their happiness. That combination adds up to a good chance you're up at 3 a.m. cleaning fox feces off the top of your fridge while cursing yourself for not just getting a hamster. You can probably find a way to make it work if you do the research and you're committed enough, but, and I'm going to say this as many times as it's applicable, if you're that willing to sacrifice your sleep, sanity, and social life for a screaming, pooping deratio of a creature, just have children. Because foxes are great wild animals, but they can really be some mid-as-hell pets.
Seriously, don't. Right? Children are not fucking pets. Like, you want to have children, be damn sure of that. Most biggest epidemic I see in the world today is like people having children don't know what the fuck they want, and children are the one who suffers. And the children grows up, they don't grow up right, and that the world suffers. Like seriously. There should be like a fucking campaign out there which teaches people like having children is a fucking responsibility. If you don't want to have one, just fucking don't. Like have a pet instead. Right, you want to treat someone like a pet, then have a pet. Don't you dare have kids if you don't want it.
But that's gonna do it for this video. Friendly reminder that I do have a book out. It's called 100 Animals That Can, redacted, Kill You. Link in description if you're interested. Shout out to...
Damn it, I didn't say, like, you know, I said that in a previous, I want to check that book out, forgot. After I'm done with this recording, I'm gonna check that fucking thing out. Because I bet that book's gonna be great. Right, people, that was how nature's underdog took over the world. Look, I've seen videos of where people pet tigers, like domesticated tigers. First of all, I don't know how that works. Like, you know, people, you know, just feeding like a, you know, that bottle, right, milk bottle just directly to the tiger, and tiger just Bengal tigers, and they're just playing around like cats, literally like cats. Like big cats are still cats. They act like cats, which always like, it's cute in a way, but you know it's a fucking tiger. One swipe from their claw and could damage most walls. That's how strong they are. Their jump is ridiculous. Like, they are the athletes of the animal kingdom, tigers. And they are getting like pet, you know. I've seen tigers sitting on somebody's lap, just playing. Like, after that, like, nothing surprises me. Fox can be domesticated. Yeah, sure, why not? Right, well, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. I love anything animal related. I'm not very, you know, I don't know, versed in this or something. Like, I don't know much, you know, detail about this. I think I know good enough now after reacting lots of, you know, TSUs, Frank Fun, case geographic videos. But yeah, if you know any other channel like this you want me to react to, definitely comment down. And yeah, I'll see you next time.